Okay. And then do I put this loud for me when I want to talk?
Yeah.
It's saying live, isn't it going to be?
Yeah, you're live now.
Assalamu alaikum, you're listening to Ramadan Radio on 87.9 FM and you're listening to the Careers Advice Show with Fozia and Zanab. So today we're going to be looking at careers and we're going to be looking at whether you are unsure, or if you are unsure of where you'd like your career to pursue, then this is a show for you. We will be discussing various careers and be giving you an insight into that particular career. So, is there any career you would like us to delve into in more detail in order for you to decide if this is a correct career for you? If so, please drop us a text on 07 440 420 432 or alternatively call in on 01902 972 150. Right. So when it comes to choosing your career, what career you would like to do or pursue is important. To look at what skills you already have and to decide on whether you would want a career with a lot of interaction with various people or if you would prefer a behind-the-desk job. So, however, saying this, though, it could also be that you already have in mind what career path you want to take and you may not have the skills or training required. So this shouldn't put you off. And where possible, try to get in contact with others in those fields. Now, if you're one of those people who are still unsure of what career path you want to pursue, then you can take a careers test. So I'll talk later about a careers test, but right now, Zanab, what do you think about careers?
Hello, everybody, and welcome to our show. I think within careers, there is a lot of opportunity, and the show is jam-packed with two of our wonderful guests coming on to talk about their career paths. So sit back, relax, and enjoy an hour's worth of exceptional advice from our two guests. Fozia, within your job, could you give us a bit more that what you do as a teacher? What kind of things you do?
So I'm a science teacher, so I teach children about biology, chemistry, and physics, and I make sure that I simplify the topic before approaching the subject so they can understand it, and I get great passion from when a student will understand what I've taught them. And this is why I actually went into the teaching field as well. So I think it's important to have passion for the career that you want to go into as well.
Yeah, and it has to be rewarding as well. You can't go into a job and, after a while you get bored of it, or you're not passionate about it, or, after a while it just becomes mundane. So you need to be try a few different avenues first, I think, before you come to your right
Yes,
career.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. I couldn't do repetitiveness.
Yeah.
I couldn't, do the same thing day in, day out. So I had to have something that was changing.
Yeah, and within our own personality and our skill set and, our character, we tend to go towards things which are, which are important to us or which we're quite passionate about. So that's what's going to happen over the hour. We're going to have two guests who are going to tell us about their careers and why they made the choices they did. So over to Fozia.
Yeah, we're just going to play a nasheed for you now. It's by Mahir Zain Medina. Enjoy.
In my dreams I make my way to Medina, the home and chosen place of our beloved prophet, where all I feel is peace and so much joy around. No better place for me. Yeah, Medina, Medina, Medina to Nabi, Medina, Medina. That's where I wanna be. Medina, Medina, Medina to Nabi, Medina, Medina. That's where I wanna be. Oh, oh, Medina, Medina. Oh, oh, Medina, Medina. I wake with the morning light in Medina. Everywhere I see blue skies, set above these mountains, bright colors fill the streets, a smile on every face, a special place for me. Yeah, Medina, Medina, Medina. That's where I wanna be. Medina, Medina, Medina to Nabi. Medina, Medina, that's where I wanna be. Oh, oh, Medina, Medina. Oh, oh, Medina, Medina. طلع البدر علينا من ثنيات الوداع وجب الشكر علينا ما دعا لله داع أيها المبعوث فينا جئت بالأمر المطاع جئت شرفت المدينة مرحبا يا خير داع مدينة 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 النبي مدينة مدينة That's where I wanna be مدينة 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 النبي مدينة مدينة That's where I wanna be Oh, oh مدينة مدينة Oh, oh مدينة مدينة Oh, oh مدينة مدينة Oh, oh مدينة 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 النبي مدينة 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 النبي
مدينة 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 النبي مدينة 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 النبي.
So I hope you enjoyed listening to that nasheed. Right, so today's show was about careers and about career prospects. So there's a careers test that you can take, actually, and it's on a website, and I'll talk you through that in a second. Well, it's called actually allaboutcareers.com. So the test looks at your skills, your personality, and your interests through a series of questions. Then the careers test tries to match up your attributes to industry sectors that will suit you. So that's how the test actually works, and it will help you to try and get some career focus in your life. Now, if you want to access this careers test, the website is allaboutcareers.com, and you have to click on to what can I do, then scroll down to a link which says take our career test. And once you've done the test, obviously, then you put in your information and it should bring up some industry sectors that suit you and your attributes. In our times, then, they never had any of this, did they?
No. I mean, this is like the first time we're coming across this. I think when I was younger, we would have the careers teacher come in to talk to us in school, and they will talk about a few organisations, and then you'd get a bit of work experience maybe for about 1 or 2 weeks. And now there is so much out there with the internet and the social media. There is a lot of advice out there from from employers, from training organisations and so on. But when you're trying to go on the internet, you'll see that it can be quite mind-boggling.
It can,
the amount of CVs, websites you come across, training organisations, and it can be quite stressful because
it can, yes.
If you're trying to get your CV together, for example, and unless you've got some professional advice and you've never done one before, it can be quite difficult to put one together.
Yeah, that's it. So hopefully this show will help people as well by bringing in professionals from various backgrounds who will actually give an insight into their field, and it will help people listening in to understand that field better.
Yeah, I think the best thing to do, definitely, Fozia, the best advice is to get your CV done and ask yourself, what are the prospects that you want for a job? What are your prospects? What tasks will I be doing?
Yeah, exactly. Did you find the work experience helpful when you were younger?
I think as we grow as individuals, because I think when you're 16, you have different ambitions,
Mm-hmm.
and then as you get older, as you grow and become an adult, your ambitions change as well.
Yeah,
so I think when
definitely.
I was about 20, I wanted to I wanted to go into teaching, and
Mm-hmm.
then I changed and wanted to go into nursing,
Mm-hmm.
and then eventually I got into probation,
Mm-hmm.
and I kind of fell into that because at one point I did a degree in business admin, and I wanted to go into HR.
Oh, okay.
So I was doing a lot of interviews and I wasn't getting anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So this job came up as a probation officer training, and they were doing a fast track degree. And I thought, I need to improve my interview skills, so why not go for this job?
Mm-hmm.
So I went for the job, and it was like 2 days intensive interviewing, and they're doing like presentations and all these psychometric tests and so on, and I was sitting there, and a lot of people were nervous, and they come from a criminal justice background.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I was thinking, you know what, I don't need to stress about this. I'm not going to get this job. I don't know anything about this legal system and so on, and like each stage, like a bit like the shows like the that we see on telly, in terms of competition shows, it was a bit like that, because I just felt like each stage I was passing one stage and getting to the next one. I think, oh, what, I've done this, but I'm not going to get to, and I didn't have confidence in myself. But I was thinking,
okay, yeah.
there's no need to be nervous because I'm not going to get this job anyway. So I'll just go with the flow, and I ended up getting the job.
That's it. I think the nerves get the best of us. Honestly.
And not just that, and that's the best thing I've done. I really enjoy it. And I've been doing it for the last 15 years now.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, every day is different. And
Yeah.
I think that's why it's so important to find out what you're good at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And coming back to your point, you just said that you did a degree in business, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And now you're in probation.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's it. A lot of people start off in different careers, but they merge and they verge off onto different avenues and fields later in life.
Yeah.
So even this career show will be helpful for people who are thinking, we don't want to stick to the career that we're currently in.
Exactly. And it's not just for our young viewers who are listening. It's for anybody really, because sometimes you don't feel that you're stuck in a particular career.
Yeah.
So you could be in your 20s, you could be in your 30s, or even 40s. People change their careers all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
And we're hoping that from this show that you get a bit of inspiration, and you're able to think, what, we don't need to stay in a particular career if you're not happy with it.
Yes, yeah, that's a brilliant idea. So that's helpful. Well, my work experience was at Sainsbury's. So it wasn't beneficial to me at all. Apart from now, when I go shopping, I realise that the in-date products, or the ones that will have a longer shelf life, will be at the back.
Right.
Yeah, that's how they stock them on the shelves. Right. Okay. Is there any questions that you'd like to ask us, or is there anything that you'd like to discuss? Feel free, please, to drop us a text, like I said before, on the number 07440 420 432, or call in on 01902 972 150. So, Zanab, is there any other advice you could give to somebody?
I think initially, like I said earlier, that the best thing to do is we get a bit lazy with our CVs. Get your CV done. Get advice from family or friends, or even colleagues that you work with or you don't work. If you haven't got a CV at all, get one done. There's a lot of advice on the internet, and once you start your CV, you find that go into detail of the jobs you're doing. Don't sell yourself short, because I think sometimes we're not we cut ourselves short a little bit because we don't look at our qualities, our attributes, and things that we could bring to the job, and get some like really good references on there. So it's really important that you start off and make your CV, and from there you can build on it.
Yeah, those are some helpful tips. Excellent, thank you for that. Okay, so we're going to just play you another nasheed now, Mountains of Makkah by Zain Bika.
Mountains of Mecca, what can you say of the day that Abraham passed your way, and he was instructed by God to build a house of peace where people will pray, and they will come on every lean camel and out of every ravine for the purpose
Yes, yeah. Yeah. All right, okay then. All right. Okay, cool. All right then.
Right, okay then. Assalamu alaikum. We're back again, and we've got our guest in now, who is Dr. Sadia Ikram, who's a dentist, and she graduated in dentistry from the University of Bristol. How are you, Sadia? Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum, Sadia. Are you there?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Welcome to our show.
Thank you.
Okay, I think the first question is, how did you become interested in this field?
So, with dentistry, I actually became interested in it quite early on. I know, Zanab, you were talking about sometimes you don't know so young what you want to do, but I was quite lucky. So I was always, at school, I was always interested in my sciences, and I was always good at maths.
Yeah.
And I also liked the idea of being of service to others. So I knew I wanted to go down the medical field. So when the work experience came, I think it was in year 10, I looked into optometry. So I went to Boots Opticians to do my first work experience. And I realised it was a good field, but it wasn't for me because I wanted to get my hands dirty.
Right.
So, yeah, so it was actually quite good to explore that and have that experience. And then after, I knew I didn't want to go down medicine, but for me personally, I wanted at 15, I knew I wanted a 9-to-5 lifestyle. Right. So I knew medicine wasn't for me. So I explored dentistry after doing that work experience for optometry. So and I liked it when I did some further work experience in the summer holidays. I like dentistry.
Right.
So that's how I became to it.
I think that's really excellent to know what you wanted at such a young age.
Yeah, and it's good actually. The work experience is beneficial for you. Yeah. Okay. So the next question I wanted to ask you was, what are your main responsibilities as a dentist?
So one of the main responsibilities now, more than it was about 20, 30 years ago, is prevention. So I will always talk to my patients about prevention and educate them. Also, what people don't realise is when you come for your checkups, you shouldn't only come for when you're in pain. We also detect for mouth cancer. So lots of people will not know they've got mouth cancer if they do. It's rare, but it's a possibility. So we look out for mouth cancer. We look out for gum disease. We look out for any fillings that you may need. So you might not know you need a filling because it doesn't. Cavities don't hurt until it's too late. So we look out for cavities, and then we also look out if you're quite young, if you need braces, or if you need any referrals for any other complications. So it's a lot more than just fillings that we look into.
I think that's really interesting what you said, Sadia, in terms of mouth cancers, because that's something I wouldn't have thought of. Because when you go to the dentist, you don't think you could have other underlying illnesses or So it's really important.
We're the only healthcare professional that detects for mouth cancer.
Right. Okay, that's really interesting. Yeah. Thank you for that. Okay, our next question is, what kind of education or training background does your job require?
So with dentistry, it's very similar to medicine. You've got to get very good grades in your GCSEs. So I was just looking at the University of Manchester website because I'm originally from Manchester, and it's a good university. So is Bristol, but I was just looking at Manchester, and it says you need at least you need for your A levels you need 3 A's. Okay, if you get a B, they might consider you. Okay, so that shows that you need to work hard. Okay, so they want you to do chemistry and biology, and then anything else.
Okay, so is there any possibility for somebody who's got a B and they haven't got the straight A's that like everybody else has got? Is there a possibility for them to go through clearing, or are there any other universities that would consider them, or is there another process?
So because it's such a competitive career, clearing it's very rare that you can get through clearing.
Okay.
You're very lucky if you do.
So,
because yeah.
so are people able to resit then to get the the A grades that they need in their A levels? Maybe to, I mean, if they're like adamant and they want to go into dentistry, are there any resits they could do to to get in there?
So from my experience, it seems that you can if there's extenuating circumstances.
Right.
So unfortunately, you've got to work hard from day one. Even for your GCSEs, you've got to have at least 7 grade A's and B's, A's and A stars.
Okay.
So that's 7s and 8s now, isn't it?
So, Sadia, can I just ask you, sorry,
Yeah.
are there any foundation courses that you can do? Or universities offer a year where you can do a foundation course and then go on to dentistry the following year?
I think there's a couple of universities that offer that. So at the time, I started the University of Bristol 10 years ago. So it's a 5-year degree. So I think there's a couple of you've got to look into it. But I think at the time there was the University of Bradford that did a foundation course that you could get you onto. Say if you didn't get the GCSE grades or the A levels, you go onto this foundation course and then apply to dentistry or medicine. So it's still not guaranteed. It's still, you do that 1 year and then you can apply to these. And again, there's lots and lots of people applying, so you've got to stand out.
Right, brilliant.
The other thing apart from grades is you've got to have a skill that shows that you have good manual dexterity. So something like art or knitting or things like that, that shows that you're quite good with your hands.
Yeah, I was just coming on to that question as well, though. So your skills and abilities and do you think there's any other personal attributes that we have to have as a dentist? Because you have to be quite,
you've got to you've got to be a people's person.
Yeah.
So you learn all the sciences, you have to pass all the exams, and you come and realise that you've just got to like people. So all day I am talking to, if not my nurse, I'm talking to people all day. I see about 30 patients a day. And, you've got to like talking to people because it's all about talking to them, educating them, making them feel at ease. So if you're not a people's person or, you're not a good communicator, then it's not the job for you.
So it's not just about getting the grades then, is it? It's about having
Not
that
at
personality
all,
as well.
no, yeah.
I understand.
Okay, Sadia. So what advice would you give someone who is considering this type of work then?
So I'd say if you think, if you're a people's person, then yeah, definitely consider it. But like you said, it's hard to know that when you're at 15, 16, 17, isn't it? So the other thing I'd say is it's a good career, a 9-to-5 career. So especially for ladies who know they want a family in the future, it's a quite nice job to have.
And there's no work that you have to.
Medicine.
Yeah, there's no work you have to bring back home either with dentistry, which is a plus as well, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. Did you say there's no work at home?
Yeah, so you don't have to bring a lot of work back home to do marking.
No, you don't. But the good thing is, if you wanted to, you could. So you could further your career by doing a diploma or a master's in other things. So you can't. Again, it's quite flexible like that. And I'd say don't do it because you think it's easy money, because it's not, like nothing else. If you think it's easy money, then pick another career because it's not. Because again, you're working with people all day. Most people are going to end up as an NHS dentist, and we all know about the NHS at the moment, unfortunately. And also ask yourself these questions: are you willing to work hard to get there? Do you like talking to and helping people? And also, I'd say definitely get some work experience, not only in dentistry, but go to an optician and see if that's what you like. Go to a pharmacy, explore all the options around dentistry. Even try and get some work experience at a hospital.
Yeah.
So it's very important.
I just wanted to ask as well, did you get a lot of support when you were going into dentistry or studying?
By school, do you mean?
Yeah, by your school and by your family as well, because if you studied at Bristol, did you say you were from Manchester, weren't you?
Yeah, so because it was, I did have a lot of support. Of course, coming from a Pakistani background, going down the medical field is highly encouraged. Going to Bristol was quite disheartening for my parents because it's so far, it's a big long commute. But they realised that because it was so competitive to get in. So for the other universities or for other courses, you get to pick 5 universities.
Okay.
For dentistry, you only get to pick 4. And, if you're really outstanding, you get 4 offers. I just about got two offers. The first time I actually didn't get in. I got rejected from all 4 of my offers.
Mm-hmm.
So I took a gap year
Mm-hmm.
because I still wanted to do dentistry.
Mm-hmm.
So I did some more work experience, and I reapplied. I mean, I got the grades, so I didn't need to resit anything.
Mm-hmm.
So I reapplied, and I got into Bristol, so my parents knew how hard it was to get in. That did let me go anywhere. I was accepted.
Yeah, I'm glad that you said that actually, Sadia, because it does go out, it does prove out there that you shouldn't be disheartened by getting rejected initially, and you should keep
course.
on persevering if that's something that you actually want as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Of course, yeah.
Okay, so in terms of women working and having children, is there any like flexibility in the way that you work? I mean, are women able to work part-time as a dentist? Is there flexibility in that sense?
Absolutely, it's a fantastic career for mothers and families.
Mm-hmm.
I've always been. I've just had a baby myself recently, so it's only become
mashallah.
important to me now. But yes, I can. When I go
Okay,
back, I
Sadia,
can go
I'm
back
sorry.
to how many days I want. Yeah.
Sadia, I'm sorry. I'm just going to have to hold the call for a minute, if that's okay, because we're coming to come. Welcome back. You listen to Ramadan Radio on 87.9 FM. So before the break, we were speaking with Dr. Sadia Ikram, a dentist from Wolverhampton. Sadia, assalamu alaikum.
Welcome, Sam.
Yeah, so we've got a question coming now. It says somebody is thinking about getting into wanting to study A-levels for dentistry, and they've asked, is it easy to get work experience in dentistry? Would you let somebody come in to do work experience, and how do we approach dentists?
Okay, so I wouldn't say it's easy. Nothing about dentistry is easy, and that's the beauty of starting off with work experience. It shows you're passionate. So what I did, I wrote a letter and I handed it out to all my local dentists.
Mm-hmm.
And they tell you whether they want you to. When you go in, you introduce yourself, make sure you're polite, and it's a good place to start your own dentist. It is a lot harder to get work experience than it was before because of all the insurance policies, but there will be someone out there that will give it to you, inshallah. So it's write a polite letter, go in and hand over the letter, and just wait for your response.
Okay, did you manage to get any work experience then with your dentist?
Sorry?
Did you manage to get the work experience with the dentist initially?
Yeah, I did. You've got to go to different dentists. So my dentist gave me work experience. Another one down the road did. I even went to a community dentist, so look into the hospital as well. It wasn't easy. I had to go through jump through lots of loopholes and go through lots of people to actually gain that work experience. And you also asked if you can get work experience with me. You can at one practice, so I work in 2 practices. There's one practice that's owned by a large company, and they won't allow it, unfortunately. But there's another company that's owned by, there's the other dentist that I work for, which is a singular company. Well, it's not a company, it's owned by a single dentist, and you can catch me there. So that's Church Street Dental Practice. So they can Google that and get an email address and go through that way.
Okay, thank you for that. And also, somebody's asking, is it studying dentistry difficult? They're saying that they're good at science, but they're unsure about the level of work at university. Do you get enough support?
So if you get all A's at A-level, that means you're very hard-working and you're determined, right? So if you can get through that, inshallah, you'll get through 5 years of dentistry. It's not easy, like I said, but you're a hard worker because you've got through GCSEs, you've got through A-levels, you've got through the interview process. You're going to get there.
Oh, okay, brilliant. And we've just had another question. It says, how are you able to juggle your work life with your personal life? Do you feel your employer is supportive of a good work-life balance? And do you foresee any good traits from work that you can implement in your home?
Of course, yeah. So again, dentistry has a wide range of skills. Not only do I have to have good communication skills with my patients, I have to with my colleagues as well, because if we don't get on with each other, my patients are going to suffer. So good communication helps in your community, it helps with your colleagues, it helps at home. I do get good support at work, but it is stressful. So sometimes, especially in the beginning, I'm into it 6 years now, but in the beginning I used to have a lot of sleepless nights worrying about this, worrying about that. Have I done this right? But, that's part of the career when you're helping other people or when you're in the medical field.
And mashallah, you've got the experience. You know, I bet you just walk into work now and it's like a breeze in the park, isn't it?
Some days, yes.
Mashallah.
Okay, so Sadia, could you explain a typical day of work? So what does it consist of?
Okay, so a typical day of as an NHS dentist is obviously you wake up, you have your coffee, and you drive to work. Luckily, I work within 10 to 20 minutes at different practices. And then you have to get changed when you get to work. You've got to get changed into scrubs because of cross infection. And I change my hijab as well. Or if you have your hair down, you've got to tie your hair up. If you're a boy, you're fine. And then I go into my surgery, which has been cleaned by my nurse, and I check the computer for the list of patients. And then 9 o'clock, 8:30 to 9, the patients start coming in. And you get on with it, one after the other. It could be a checkup, it could be a filling, but you've got your diary in front of you, so you know what's coming in. Sometimes you've got a patient that's in pain and has called up that day. So you don't know what's going on, so you've got to wait and make time for that patient and see what's going on. Then we have our lunch hour, and alhamdulillah, I finish by 5:30, 6 o'clock.
Okay, it seems like a really long, hard day of work.
Yeah, it goes fast.
Right.
It's very
and,
busy.
You know, with the COVID-19 now, are the dentists still open? Then are people still going to the dentist, or are they?
No, yeah. So the dentists are closed, unfortunately, but you can still call up. So I'm on maternity leave, but so I'm not working. But my practice is open. You can call them up if you've got a problem, and there's someone available every day, 9 to 5, or 8 to 6, whatever the opening times are, to give you advice. If you're in pain and there's a big emergency, you need treatment immediately. Right. There is somewhere we can refer you to. But first, you've got to ring up your dentist, and you know, even if you're concerned about something little, a filling's dropped out, you're worried about something, just call up, and there is someone there to give you advice.
All right, thank you for that. Okay. Also, another question somebody sent in is: would you consider starting your own practice and being your own boss, or do you prefer working for someone else, especially when you're bringing up a family?
Personally, I like working for someone so I can leave the stress at work. Yeah. But that's personal.
Yeah, which is fair enough. Right. Okay. So, thank you very much, Sadia, for your answers to the questions, and it's been some very good advice that you've given us. And I'm just going to go on to the next nasheed. It's Sami Yusuf's My Ummah.
All right. Do you want me to give some oral hygiene advice? Yeah. Are we done now? So I'm done. Okay, one second.
My brothers, my sisters in Islam, let's struggle, work and pray if we are to bring back the glory of His way. Ya Allah, Ya Rabb al-Alameen, Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim, Ya Rabbi, let the Ummah rise again. Ya Allah, Ya Rabb al-Alameen, Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim, Ya Rabbi, let the Ummah rise again. Let us see daylight again, once again. Let's become whole again, proud again, 'cause I swear with firm belief in our hearts
we can bring back the glory of our past. My ummah, he will say, Rasulullah on that day, even though we've strayed from him. Look at where we were, look at where we are, tell me, is this how he'd wanted to be? Oh no, let's bring back our glory.
Hello? Okay.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to Ramadan Radio 87.9 FM. And we have a next guest.
Okay, our next guest is Usma Kausar, and she is a director of English within her school establishment. Welcome, Usma. How are you?
Assalamualaikum. Very well, thank you. How are you all?
Okay, not too bad.
Alhamdulillah.
Okay, we're going to go straight into the questions. Okay, so if you could just tell us a bit about how you became interested in your field.
Yeah, oh gosh, going back about 17, 18 years, when I was in year 11, kind of looking at career options, I always was keen in English and kind of was an A-star student in English. So I knew that my future kind of career path would entail English. And so I had journalism on one side and I had teaching on the other.
Right.
And it was during the time of the Taliban, and they'd kidnapped a British white journalist that kind of made me realise that actually it was a field that was going to be quite dangerous and quite risk-taking and stuff. And so I picked teaching, and funny enough, I actually don't regret picking my second option. It was probably the best option that I made. So I went to university. I completed an English degree for 3 years, and then did my teacher training, which was a year.
Okay.
And within that year, I worked in a school. It was actually a local community school, and I developed my skills and developed my kind of knowledge and interest working with those children. And I think the thing that got me was because my own personal story was I came from a single parent family. I was the eldest child.
Right.
And I had a very good support network. I had uncles and my nanny who were my support. Again, looking at it, living in the 90s, my life could have been very, very different. You know, I could have been married at 18, from back home, had 4 or 5 children, been unemployed and stuff. And so I wanted to work in the Birmingham community to try and aspire young girls mainly to do something for themselves and stand on their own 2 feet.
And definitely. Okay.
You know, our religion teaches us that knowledge is so powerful. It's something that can't be taken away from you. And so being a good role model and being quite driven in terms of, you know, typicality is the Asian community, children flourish in maths and science, but they find the English subjects quite difficult. So it was trying to create that love and that bond with the subject, and which would ultimately lead.
I think it's quite hard if English isn't your first language, and you know to go into that. It's quite inspiring what you've just said, because young people that are listening, young, the youth, they don't seem to aspire to they aspire to probably careers that the family want them to be, either a doctor or a lawyer or a solicitor, but they don't look at on a wider scale. There's other fields that they could go into. So I'm really glad you've said that. So what are your main responsibilities?
So I think my fundamental responsibility is that I teach English. I'm a teacher. In the classroom, I teach. So I teach English language and English literature from year 7 to year 13. So we've got a 6th form as well. But then over the last 6 years, I took on a leadership role. So I'm the director of English, which is your old school head of English. So I manage a team of 17 other teachers. And I make decisions and I make choices for the young people at my school. Now, that might be, for example, the exam board that they study, the texts that they study. Again, we live in inner city Birmingham, and a lot of my students, for example, I realised that they didn't know there was a world that existed beyond small hills and boys of green. So it was creating opportunities for them to actually see that English can be outside of your hometown. It can be, fun. It can be engaging. So taking them to the theatre, taking them to workshops and stuff, meeting authors, and then on top of that, at a whole school level, I ensure that every single teacher, every single student is being brushed up in terms of their reading and their literacy skills. So I have a whole school literacy role as well.
So as I'm talking to you, you can tell you're very passionate, which is good to hear actually, because hopefully that passion rubs off on the students as well. We've got a text that's coming or a message on the Ramadan Radio's Wolves website, which says, "MashaAllah, well done, sisters, very good show." And another one which says, listening to your program about the dentistry side, you have to have such high qualifications. How do these compare to the qualifications from abroad, and do they hold the same status? And also, how easy is it to work abroad within this field? So hopefully we'll answer that question for you next week in that session. And Uzma, coming back to you, sorry. What kind of abilities and skills do you think you require as a teacher?
I think fundamentally, you've got to have passion. You've got to be passionate about your subject, and that might be, history, maths, languages. You've got to be passionate. You've got to know your subject, because you're shaping and you're changing lives, and you don't want to stand in front of a class of 25 to 30 students and have gaps in your own subject knowledge. And then I think the next thing would be how you articulate it. So being able to, talk to young people, teach them the skills, but also adapting them. What might have worked for you, and I'm sure there are parents listening as well, what might have worked for you as a child is very different to what our young children need today. So it's about having that versatility in terms of, you might teach, for example, multiplication 5 different ways, and it might be either that 5th method is what works for your child, and it might be that it wasn't a method that was used for you, because our young people are so diverse, and there's such a wide spectrum in terms of needs as well. And then things like good time management, being able to prepare and plan, being able to prioritize. In the early years, I can remember I never used to have much of a social life Monday to Thursday in the evening, because you have to come home and you have to plan your lessons, and you have got parents with you. What I can say is it's all rewarding, because when you see that child that you meet in September, and you complete an academic year journey with them, at the end of the year you will see how that child has transformed, they've grown, they've developed, and your time that you've invested has been worthwhile. I always say teaching is a profession that no money, no material object in the world can actually celebrate the success that you have with an individual child, because they all learn at different times. And
I agree. Yeah, I can relate with you on that, Uzma. Totally, it's such a rewarding job teaching. Is alhamdulillah.
It is. It's just phenomenal, and you can't put a price on it. You can't put a price on the progress or the development of a child. And if you're blessed and you teach, as much, nearly 200 students every academic year, that's 200 lives that you've shaped.
Yeah.
And that's absolutely amazing what you just said, Uzma. And also, we would like to know, if somebody is considering teaching, what advice would you give who's, wanting to go into this line of work?
So initially, you've got to make sure that your GCSE grades are, on point. So if you wanted to go into teaching, you've got to aim for a grade 5 or above. And then go and do an A-level in the subject that you're interested in. So, for example, let's say if you were interested in chemistry, go and do an A-level in chemistry, and then go on to university and try and pick that subject as your degree focus. For those people, for example, who it's not, you can do a 1-year conversion course. So, let's say, for example, my degree was in RE, and I wanted to be an English teacher. I can do a conversion course. I can do a few mini courses to kind of top me up in terms of my English skills and understanding. And then you go and do a 1-year teacher training. Now, you could do that via Teach First, you could do that via School Direct, you could do that via a PGCE. You do your 1 year training, you get QTS at the end of it, and then the school that you probably trained at will probably take you on to do newly qualified teacher training. So it's a 2 year training program, and then you're a qualified teacher.
Okay.
All I will say is, even as a teacher, you never stop learning, and then throughout the duration of your time, you will continue to learn and develop.
Okay, that's true. Actually, I find that myself as well. So somebody sent a question in saying to the guest and the presenters, in fact, how are you finding teaching your own children during the lockdown?
I think we'll put
So
a question to
I
Osman.
don't have children, but I've been supporting my sister with my niece and nephew.
Mm-hmm.
And funny enough, it's very different to the classroom. Now, what we have to understand is that these young people, these children, are going through a massive change in their life, and they've not experienced anything like this. I think what I've had to kind of implement is more patience and more short bursts of activities. Where I was in school, for example, deliver a 50-minute lesson, at home I'm delivering a 30-minute lesson, purely because the routine, the kind of the environment is very different. And also, I don't think parents are good teachers of their own children.
All right.
I think that's quite true
Yeah.
as well.
Are your nieces and nephews younger than secondary age children?
Yes, they are. They're primary. So one's 5 and one's 2.
And that makes a difference. That's the same with
Yeah,
me
it
and my
makes a difference. And it kind of confuses a child because they don't know what hat you're wearing. 1 minute you're their mum or their auntie, and next minute you're their teacher, but also parents as well, because I think parents sometimes we don't understand and we think, hold on, you should know that, you should understand that. And it's like taking it back to basics and back to the drawing board and actually spending that time. And if it takes 5 days for the child to master the periodic table, then so what?
Do you also find those more that with the children being younger, and we've got a background in secondary science or secondary teaching, you have less patience as well? Because with my own children who are younger, I have less patience because, like you just said, they take a bit longer, and I have to remind myself that they are young, and I have to take a step back.
I think that's part of society that we're living in. I think we as people have very quickly made our lives quite hectic and quite busy. We don't slow down. But yeah, stripping it down to teaching your own kids at primary level, you've got to slow it down. You've got to, make sure that you're catering for the child's needs. And I know at secondary, you have an hour with a class, and you go at such a fast pace because you've got so much to cover. That you're kind of pressing against time.
Yeah, exactly.
But the beauty of it is that we're at home now. We're in lockdown. And, you could cover the same topic twice in a day at 2 different times at a slower pace.
Yeah, that's what I've started to do, actually, especially with my son. Splitting is finding that he works and he focuses better. So somebody sent a text in, actually, as well as mine, saying teaching is something that they would like to do, especially English. So it's wonderful hearing this teacher. How long has she been in the profession? And people talk about burnout, and this worries me. What are her thoughts about this?
Right. Oh, gosh. So by the end of this academic year, it'll be 14 years that I've been in the profession. And I have to say they've been the best 14 years of my life. In terms of burning out, as long as you can keep a balance in your own kind of life, your lifestyle, yes, the initial years are very time-consuming, but you have to make time for yourself. And I know that I would follow a method of, on a Wednesday evening, I would just work till about 7 o'clock, switch off, and then I would do no work on a Friday, and I would do no work on a Saturday. And that's where things like a healthy mind, your fitness, doing things that you enjoy, because the other thing is children want interesting teachers. They want teachers who'll come back on Monday and say, oh, by the way, I did this, or I went here. So making that time for yourself.
So it's really important, is it, to have that work-life balance in between doing your job and doing teaching, and making sure you've had time out to relax, so that, like you said, come back as a happy, relaxed teacher on a Monday.
definitely the last thing that a child wants to see is somebody miserable, bitter, and angry. And I think for me, I was always a bundle of joy and stuff. And being Asian and a typical Pakistani girl, I remember in the early years, I had to force myself to listen to the radio regarding football matches. And I'd go back on Monday morning and I'd be like, oh yeah, Man United won or Liverpool lost 3-0 and stuff. And the kids would be like, miss you watch football and stuff. And it was engaging with them. But going back to your burnout question, you've got to also make sure that you're with a circle of people who are in the same profession. And I've got some wonderful friends that I've made over the years who are teachers, who actually are now assistant heads and stuff. Because when you've got a shared group of people that you're in contact with, you don't feel so lonely, and you don't feel like you're the only one that's working on a Tuesday evening, but whilst everybody else is out and stuff. And it's just making sure that you make a bit of time for yourself, but also you remember that you're in such a powerful position because you are shaping a child's life, and you want to do right. My religion was another thing that held me very, very tight, on the right path. In terms of, I looked at it and I thought, Allah SWT has put me in a position where I can actually enable these children to earn a halal living. If they come to me and I put the basics right, they'll move on to the next destination of their further education, and they'll continue, and they will do well.
Yeah.
And so having your religion, which kind of close to you.
Yeah.
So there's a
Sorry,
variety of
Osman, I'm just going to have to stop you there because we haven't got long left to the end of the show. But you're right, religion is very important, and being Muslims, it does help us to be able to focus on our careers and on our patients and our healthy minds as well. You've been very helpful, and I hope that it's been very informative to everybody else. And so...
Okay, thank you for being on our show today. Please tune in next week again on 87.9 FM. Where we'll bring 2 or more guests on to speak about future careers.
Right, so just remembering now from coming back to the beginning of the show how we spoke about what you need and what is important. So you have to look at your skills, your personality, and what attributes you can